Good morning and happy Thursday. I'm Tristan Winder in the News 2 streaming studio at the Morning Pulse here on this Thursday, April 10th. Some industry leaders across Nebraska have welcomed the news that President Trump would be pausing most of his tariffs. This comes as farmers are preparing to plant their fields, and still existing trade turmoil may even show up in what crops are being planted. The Nebraska Farm Bureau says that you can expect more corn than soybeans this year, since China is likely not going to buy many of our soybeans. And while uncertainty with China can create some worry in grocery stores, the Nebraska grocery industry says that folks are prepared.
Let's go ahead and get some other trade deals in the pocket. If we're going to pause, let's take advantage of this time.
They're used to responding to market changes. They're used to responding to weather changes, labor changes, energy prices, right? They have to respond to some of these price changes and market dynamics all the time, and they kind of get used to responding to it in the moment.
And sticking with some tariff news, a member of Nebraska's federal delegation has introduced legislation aimed to take back some of Congress's authority on tariffs imposed by the president. Nebraska Representative Don Bacon introduced a bill this week that would require any president to notify Congress within 48 hours of imposing or increasing tariffs, and limits the duration of any tariffs to 60 days unless Congress approves otherwise. The chances of the bill, or the chances, of the bill getting out of the GOP-controlled House appear to be slim. Congressman Bacon saying, though, quote, this is less about the actual tariffs laid by the Trump administration, some of which I support because they are reciprocal, but more of a commitment to uphold the Constitution, end quote. There from Congressman Don Bacon. Lawmakers are just one debate away from adopting two bills meant to increase online safety for minors and curb student phone use at school. This was first reported by the Nebraska Examiner, and the goal of the Age-Appropriate Online Designated Conduct Act is to tackle raising youth social media use and harms such as depression, anxiety, eating disorders, bullying, harassment, stalking, suicide, and more. State Senator Carol Bosson said that online services covered under her bill prohibit the user data and clicks for purchases. If passed, this bill would require online services to explicitly protect minors' users and their personal information as well. And now to an update on a story that we've continued to cover on the president of the University of Nebraska system after a legislative committee recommended an increase in state funds, though the number isn't exactly what he had in mind. The governor had been calling for millions of dollars in cuts. Instead, it looks like that NU will get a 1.25% increase in funding. Dr. Jeffrey Gold says that he originally went to the Appropriations Committee asking for a 3.5% increase. He says the increase is welcome, but that the university won't be able to keep pace with the inflation and loss of federal dollars.
It essentially saddles us with a need to cut certain programs, to reduce support services, to make some really hard decisions about, as I said a minute ago, how much is actually on the menu.
Dr. Gold says that he's having conversations with regions about tuition hikes right now. The Appropriations Committee also recommending reversing course on the governor's original proposal to pull research money from tobacco settlement funds as well. And speaking of state funds, state senators have been working on how to balance the state's budget. At the beginning of the session, Nebraska faced a $432 million shortfall. That's $432 million shortfall that they were faced. The governor and the Appropriations Committee chair have worked to make sure that the budget balances out. State Treasurer Tom Breezy says when all is said and done, the shortfall might not be as scary as it may seem, and they say that they have cash reserve that could help out as well, but they'd like to avoid dipping into that fund if at all avoidable. In health news around the nation, a measles outbreak has spread to multiple states and now close to 600 cases. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is now urging people to get their measles vaccines. He said that Americans should get the vaccine and the government should not mandate it. Before taking on his role as HHS Secretary, Kennedy had said that no vaccine is safe and effective. 3 deaths have been connected to this outbreak, 2 school-age children in Texas and an adult in New Mexico, all of which were unvaccinated. Plan to cover a little bit more vaccine news today at News 2 as we sit down with the West Central District Health Department. Additional details later today at News 2, 6, and 10, and of course online, knopnews2.com. Lastly, staying in national news today, President Trump signed a series of executive orders this week aimed at boosting the coal industry. The orders direct federal agencies to end what is called discriminatory policies against the coal industry. This includes eliminating a measure prohibiting coal projects on federal land. Another order claims to protect coal plants currently operating. The orders are a reversal of goals set by the Biden administration, which included the phasing out of fossil fuels, including coal. Now, this is probably going to have an impact on Union Pacific. As you can see here on your screen, you think about the transportation that coal has to undergo, and it's quite common that that's one of the most highly transported items from Union Pacific. So hoping to get a little bit more information on that here in the coming days as well. It's something I'm going to work on digging up as the day progresses. For now, we round out the Morning Pulse here on this Thursday, April 10th with a check of the 7-day forecast. We were just talking here at the News 2 newsroom, the studio here too, that it's that time of the year where you could be using the heat in the morning and the air conditioner come afternoon. Definitely doing that in the car, but trying to avoid in the building. A little cool this morning, but temperatures approaching the upper 60s with a lot of sunshine. Sunshine continues, a little bit warmer tomorrow, mid-70s, and then upper 80s on Saturday, but then dipping back down into seasonable temperatures for next week.